Anambra. My name is Nonye Nwokoye, and we'll begin with the press review. All right, you're welcome to the press review on ABS Television. Today, Monday, the 23rd day of October 2023. I'm delighted to have in the studio this morning Samuel Ololo, public affairs analyst, and of course, Jerry Obodo. Gentlemen, you're welcome to the live studios of Good Morning Anambra Show.
Thank you very much for having us here.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Nigerians. Good morning, Danambra.
You're welcome. All right, we take off with taking a look at some stories making their headlines on ABS website. Let's see stories on ABS website. Nri Community PG commends FG on initiative to tackling building collapse. Nri Community PG commends FG on initiative to tackling building collapse. Okay, ASPHCDA warns health workers against sabotaging government-free antenatal delivery policy. That's Healthcare Development Agency. All right, Anambra Women Affairs Commissioner rescue baby sold by grandmother. Anambra Women Affairs Commissioner rescues baby sold by grandmother. Let me begin with you, Lolo. Which story are you looking at?
Once again, good morning, Danambra. For me, one of the headlines that have piqued my fancy and interest is the area of the Healthcare Development Agency warning about, putting out a strong warning concerning sabotaging the free antenatal program of the government. It is important for me because over the years, we have done intervention in the Primary Healthcare Development Center, and we know how dilapidated the system has been. And we have carried out a lot of engagement, both advocacy, sensitizing government actors, and then the citizens, trying to make us understand that really health is wealth. And it's important and good that the present administration has started to listen to the yearnings of Anambra, trying to provide them access to education, access to health to the citizens. So it will be unruly for anybody to really scuttle this, because most of the times, currently Nigeria is marked the second highest maternal child mortality rate, just next after India, and Anambra State contributes to that number. So anything that the government is doing to really reduce that number, it will be unfair for anybody to sabotage it. So what are we talking about? When the women go to the primary care centers, all those facilities, they should be given the attention, they should be given the drugs, they should not sabotage any system, or because doing that would actually cost life. And I would always say, who lives in a glass house should not throw stone, because we don't know who will be affected. I don't know if it is my own family members. Nobody knows who will be affected, really. And then the lives of every citizen is important.
All right, Anambra State Primary Health Care Development Agency, doing what they should do, raising warning against workers, health workers. Now, I don't know. Which one are you looking at, Sir Jerry Obodo? Which story? This Women Affairs Ministry, has done great work, and in fact, all over their praises are going on. So, what's your take on this? Another milestone achievement by that ministry.
Adding to what my colleague has said,
okay.
I urge the healthcare givers not to charge any dime or any penny from anybody, since the government of the state has made it free. Let it be free as it is, so that it's part of the sabotaging. So, and I want ASPHCDA to monitor if what is going on, not only saying, but also monitoring.
Probably what happened in the education sector may happen very soon, because there are some principals that were stepped down, though after they were returned. Yeah. But I think when people fault in whatever, sanctions should be doled out.
Yes.
There should be sanctions so that it serves as deterrent to others, and people will know that it's no longer business as usual.
I absolutely subscribe to that.
All right, let's now look at the story of Women Affairs
Ministry. Of the Women Affairs, in one of my outings here, I've already said that Ifeobi Obinabo, yes, is a woman of substance, and is doing a yeoman job. It used to be a yeoman's job, but she's doing a yeoman's job in that ministry. Ndi Igbo na-asị na onyugo nwaanyị afia, this grandmother, because na mwegumanu ochoi chuta.
The truth of the matter is that the grandmother in question should be examined, actually, to find out what actually was the problem. Because I know that many grandmothers love their grandchildren. This one, selling your grandchild, something must be wrong somewhere. Or don't you think so?
Attributable to some factors. She might claim I'm coming.
Okay.
It could be some other things, but like I said earlier in that program, I advised the people, the seller and the buyer, to be wary, because the long arm of the law, caught up with you or catch up with you. So that don't do illegal things for any reason. If you want to adopt a child, there's a due process for that. And
even the ministry will help to do that.
Eh?
The Ministry of Women Affairs could help.
That's where I'm going. The ministry has a licensed and authorized, more or less baby homes, where people can genuinely go apply that they want male or female, and subject themselves to the normal process, and they obtain the child. So whatever. So you don't need to do the illegal things and get.
All right, Oholo, you want to add something?
Okay, so just to quickly add, in government, I think this is part of the reasons why we have government. They need to really find out the cause and effect to this. Beyond making this wide discovery, what are the reasons why this woman actually went into this? I think if the government find it out, it would help to forestall others. It might even unravel a lot of other things that are happening in the communities. So this is just why thanking the commissioner for the good work they have done. They should go beyond board to really nip it at the board.
All right, thank you very much. Let's run. We move on now to the first paper for review. Just to remind you that this program is audience participatory. There is a phone line on your screen with which to call and make your own opinion count on any issue of importance raised here. All right, moving on. Let's see. The first paper for review is the Daily Times newspaper. Let's see stories in front of the Daily Times newspaper. Crisis rocks Air Transport Employees Union over doctored constitution. That's investigation revealing. Atiku Obi, APM versus Tinubu at Supreme Court. Atiku Obi will not be declared president today, lawyers tell Nigerians. Neither will Tinubu be sacked today, Supreme Court will first run normal processes, they say. Let verdicts help, not end democracy. Barrister Moagua, expectations high nationwide. Right, Akpabio may be interim president if. All right, Wike reacts to Gumi, others. Only president determines relationship with countries. Wike replies Gumi, he says only president determines relationship with countries. Now, Nigeria Customs repels attack on facility. FBI files on Tinubu will cost Nigeria great embarrassment. Down there we have appoint your justice information commissioners now if there is nothing to hide. NBA, others tell Oburuweri. Okay, that's the much we have in front of the Daily Times newspaper. Quickly, let's take the stories that we're interested in. All right, Ulolo.
Today, another legal fireworks will begin at the Supreme Court. And since this year, it has been one drama to the other. Politically, from political drama, we entered into the business of governance and legal fireworks. We've passed through the stage of the Presidential Electoral Petition Tribunal. We are now at the Supreme Court. And so for me, I would just really advise the Supreme Court judges to really watch it. Because beyond whatever law that they are going to sustain or set aside, it also becomes a norm.
Do you think there will be any difference in outcome?
So we would not completely give up on Nigeria. Most of the times they try to look at both technicalities and then what is evidence and fact brought before them. But Nigeria, we know that with what is happening, there are things we call the law and there are things we call the spirit of the law. So we are really hoping that the Supreme Court judges would go through the spirit of the law. They should not look, of course, that is why if you look at the status of the law, they have a woman with a knife and then equal scale beam and then her eyes closed. That means regardless of who you are, they are looking strictly at the law. And for the lawyer saying, of course, nobody is expecting that a president will be declared today because we have another 3 months to really run all through. That is, we are talking of before we now know the position of the Supreme Court concerning the past governorship and presidential election. We want not just for law, not just for the laws and rules of the land to be upheld. We also want to see that it is actually upheld. That is why the Nigerians are interested, and then the Supreme Court judges should really watch it. And beyond what they pronounce, it will also determine the fate of the country going forward.
All right, quickly.
Well, you know, we can't conclude until it's all over. It's not over until it is all over. But you know, my advice to the Supreme Court judges is that they should know that the world is watching them, and you know, they should really you know, look at the case based on its merits, not being teleguided or you know, they should go there and die if it is possible, as they say in football. Go there and die, provided you say the truth as it is. So that's my take on that. I don't want to say this man is going in or going out, but let them just go there and die, say the truth.
All right, quickly, we move to the Punch newspaper. Let's see stories making their headlines in front of the Punch newspapers. Naira slumps further. Naira slumps further. Exchanges 1,190 per dollar. Fuel hit 685 naira per liter in North. Assassination. Police probe alleged attempt on Bello. 3-year blueprint. FG plans 26 trillion naira borrowing, 29 trillion naira for debt servicing Debt servicing to exceed capital budget spending by 7.69 trillion naira amid slow economy. High debt servicing costs creating potential fiscal risk, government laments. 5 die, 15 injured in Lagos-Ibadan highway crash. Israeli Hamas, Biden, Pope, protesters want ceasefire. Friends mourn Nigerian medical student killed in Philippines. APC, PDP hopeful as Supreme Court battle starts today. A very pathetic scene in front of the Punch newspaper. We could see the vehicles involved in the accident along Lagos-Ibadan highway. All right.
That's really pathetic, you know. You did mention before the commencement of this program, many of the drivers, they drive under the influence of so many things. It's either they are under the influence of alcohol, it's either they are influence of cigarette or this groove, or drugs, whatever time. And, it makes them lose control. And the resultant effect is what you are seeing playing out here. Loss of lives and properties. And also, the roads are not all that in good condition. So it contributes also to some of the accidents. Then overspeeding is a factor too. Overloading is a factor. Most of these lorries, you see, there's no way they weigh them. They just overload and overload, and this, is a problem. So our people should take it easy. I say, JJ, maybe take life JJ. Not you drive to live to see your people.
And condolences to the families that lost their loved ones in that. Okay, correct. Now we know every Nigerian, we're expected to heave a sigh of relief after the last administration of President Muhammadu Buhari concerning in terms of borrowing. But this time around, we thought we are done with borrowing as a nation. But with what we are saying now, we are seeing a 3-year blueprint. FG plans 26 trillion naira borrowing, 29 trillion naira for debt servicing. And one begins to wonder whether what the experts were saying that Nigeria is broke, whether it's really true.
Okay, well, first of all, that we are borrowing actually then shows that we are broke. That is why we are going out to look for sources of funding to finance our capital programs that should keep us afloat in the country. We cannot, as a nation, be done with borrowing. Every nation borrows, actually. But the question is, what do you use your borrowed funds for?
The citizens of the nation, do they really feel the impact of the borrowed money?
So that is what we are talking about. Now, currently, the administration has planned to borrow money that they would use to sustain their, what is it called, conditional cash transfer. And this conditional cash transfer that we are talking about, they know how they have selected the beneficiaries. It does not really trickle down to affect positively the lives of the entire citizens. So if they were borrowing
and
to ensure...
if really the conditional cash transfer is for the people that are supposed to get it in the first place.
Even the previous administration, reports are now showing that they were mopping up names. They were ghost beneficiaries that were in the database of the former program of the CCT of the former administration. So what we are saying now is, if the government actually was borrowing this money to repair and fix the highway, if they borrowed this money to ensure that there is power, sustainable power supply, if they are borrowing this money to connect rail between cities where there are high industrial layouts, then you begin to see the impact.
For easy movement.
You
of
begin to
goods
see the
and
impact
services.
of this borrowing. But they are borrowing to give to state governments to further loot the money. They are borrowing so that they can justify the money that they would then use to buy the so-called Prado Jeep and other Jeep of 163 million naira. So you see where they are channeling the money they borrow for. And on this, the naira will continue to crash. And unfortunately, the naira is at all-time low. We need the government to really get to their work. And we are not surprised really, because it is everything lies and falls on leadership. It is the kind of leaders we make as a country that determines the direction of that country. And one thing is important too. We are letting INEC begin to see the impact of the decisions they make. Because beyond having a president or beyond having leaders and representatives, trust is also important. And there must be that trust between the citizens and their leaders for the economy of every or any nation to actually thrive.
All right, we move on now. Daily Independent newspaper, that's the next in our lineup. In front of the Daily Independent, competition slows among banks as tech flattens service. The writer there says fintech's big gainers. Imo Guba, Ihedioha working for Hope Uzodinma's re-election. PDP chieftain speaks. Kogi government raises the alarm over alleged assassination attempt on Governor Bello's life. Again, agencies, experts canvass removal of aviation parastatals from TSA. Says 40% deduction breaches ICAO recommendations, strangulating. Lagos shuts Aspamda, BBA, other markets at Trade Fair Complex. Supreme Court bench hits all-time low as Justice Datito retires October 27. Wike Pandef tackles Gomi, says any Nigerian can be FCT minister. Serap asked court to stop reps from taking delivery of 360 SUVs worth 57.6 billion naira. Presidential election appeal, PDP optimistic of victory at the Supreme Court. Israel strikes Gaza, Syria, West Bank as war against Hamas threatens to ignite other fronts. All right, a lot of stories making their headlines in front of the Daily Independent newspaper. So, which one are you interested, Jerry?
The retirement of Supreme Court judges, reducing their number, the NJC should quickly do the needful and see that those vacant positions are filled immediately, so that there won't be any problems. Then on the setup, asking the court to stop reps from taking delivery of 360 SUVs worth 57.6 billion. Like my colleague was saying, the leadership is where everything revolves. And the leaders we have don't have any blueprint. They don't have any agenda. It's just to grab power. Some of the presidential, aspirants or candidates, we are saying, one, that there will be the cost of governance is so high. The masses are not impacted. Some we are saying, look, we will not depend on importation of fuel, whereas we have, local refineries. This is people who has a blueprint. And they also saying, we are going to liberalize the market so that, like they did in communication area. And, competition, everything, came down. some other people in their we are saying we won't be consumption prone, but productive. So with all these things, you see that things, you know, the Nigerians will have a breath of fresh air. But what do we have? They don't have all these things, and that's where what is happening. No agenda. It just grab. Now, can you imagine?
And do you think that had they not procured the vehicles, you know, it could help them not to borrow, or even when they want to borrow, it would not be as much as, I think, $1.5 billion. That's what I saw. You know, do you think that could happen when they don't? The money meant for the vehicles, it was used to procure maybe smaller vehicles, or you know, that it's going to help in any way.
That's why I said they don't have, you know, is it a milk of human kindness? Because you can't imagine when most of Nigerians can't even feed. A daily something, and you are going for this kind of car. That means you won't be called a leader, but
all right, you can come in alone.
So first of all, it's obvious that they are just trying to justify the money that they want to steal or they want to grab. And let me rephrase it. So even if they don't spend it on this vehicle, I bet you they'll come up with another program where they will all start in that fund and then want to extract it. So this is the kind of leadership that we have in the country. People who are self-centered, who think just about themselves and not about the citizens. And it's high time we begin to reset our mindset from that. Let me quickly go into the issue of banks and what is happening. That is why when a nation is failing, it does not just take a day, neither does it take 10 years for a nation to fail. It takes way long period of time. When the tech gurus started migrating from Nigeria, going to other countries where they get better offers, many of us were really shouting that the techies are leaving, but the country did not listen, those in power did not listen. Now, many of them have all gone out. Even some of them that were working in the bank were leaving the banking sector to look for greener pastures elsewhere. Where the banks have nothing else to do other than is either they try to reinvent the wheel.
It could be the reason they started all these deductions. They started recently.
Okay, so the thing is,
so if I do an online transaction, you collect money for stamp.
They charge you.
So where is the stamp?
Stamp duty, 50
Yes,
naira.
where is the stamp?
My wife was actually complaining yesterday from her bank, just yesterday, 3 different 50 naira stamp duty, and she was saying, what is this? And the question now is, I think those who are in power should really understand that the citizens are really suffering, and they should not continue to milk the citizens further. If you look well, we now have the likes of many tech financial companies coming up, and we don't even need banks for anything. So the banks would either have to partner with them, or they fold out, or they will have to come up with more innovative ways to get the people to continue to patronize them, or they fold out. But for them, trying to think by overtaxing the citizens, that is the only way they can remain afloat. They're getting it all wrong.
All right, quickly, our time is running. Okay. Let's look at the Nation newspaper. Stories making the headlines in front of the Nation. Now, on the banner headlines, Edun, Tinubu's homegrown plan good. Tinubu's homegrown plan good to revive economy. We have a rider there that says there's no likelihood of Nigeria seeking international assistance on debt restructuring. Okay, you start speaking before the thing happens. You know, you should have waited. Our Supreme Court justices dropped to 10. Hearing of presidential poll verdict holds today. Up there we have fake Nadeko posts anti-Tinubu campaign. Fake Nadeko post anti-Tinubu campaign. U.S. APC raises alarm. Now, Lagos halts illegal land reclamation in Ikoyi, Lekki, why we can't return to site by federal road contractors. 5 die, many injured in Kwara petrol truck accident. Quickly, we take a look at The Guardian before we summarize. The Guardian newspaper at 1,200 naira per dollar, 985 naira per liter, fuel spike squeezes air travel pricing. Okay, we can see other stories. Wike clarifies meeting with Israel envoy as Pandef, INC knock Gumi, and SARS. Falana asked minister to review plan on 500 million naira fine for convicts. Rethink palliative, set up productive engagement. Supreme Court justices down to one as Musa Datikbe bows out. A coalition resorts to protest. Lawsuit to stop purchase of 557 billion SUVs for lawmakers. All right, now I don't know this issue of dollar, fuel price, and whatever there. According to Guardian, it says that it's squeezing air travel and pricing. And look at what happened in a space of 1 week. I was following the prices of airfare. It was 70 something thousand naira last week, or last week, beginning of last week. Before 2 days, it came down to 80 something. Before a day, it came down to 90 something. Now by weekend, it was 100 and something, just one bound, one way, yes. Okay. Then two round, a round trip becomes 200 and something thousand naira. Then I saw something on the social, though I don't really follow social media like that. Yeah. They said 200,000 naira one-way trip, then round trip becomes 400,000 naira, and one begins to wonder what actually is going on. This happened in a space of 1 week.
We go to the market also. People who are complaining now are most at times those who can afford it. So what happens to the poor men who can barely feed? How much?
Transportation is not even easy because it's not easy because I remember taking a keke from my house. Within you begin to calculate how much you're spending just to take keke to go to program in the church and come back, to your house.
It affects every.
What I'm saying this is the reality of governance in Nigeria. So beyond whatever newspaper headline you see, beyond whatever plans and programs and policies of the government that government officers or officials would want to project, when you come to reality, we ask ourselves, okay, if you have done this, if you say you are providing palliative, when I go to the market, yes, can I get food and commodities at affordable rates? If I can't, every other thing you are saying is just wash. It's now making us face the realities of governance, really, and it's highly unfair. It's unfair to the extent that the regulatory agencies are also handicapped. So everybody is trying to make Nigerians the way they can, and Nigerians are just thrown into the jungle to survive however they want to survive. In a system, there should be check and balance, right? And it is in those checks and balances, when they occur, that the government would say, this is what we have tried to do for you people, and then this must actually hold. But if it doesn't, that means the aviation sector, time would come when we begin to pay 500,000 just for a trip to Abuja.
Okay.
I remember one time a military said to one of these, he said, the air travel is not for the poor masses.
Okay, let's move on. Let's look at the other papers before you comment, Jerry. Yep. Now, in front of the Vanguard newspaper, let's see stories there. Presidential tussle, anxiety as Tinubu Atiku, BAPM resume battle at Supreme Court. We have riders. Apex Court begins hearing today. We have confidence in Supreme Court. PDP. Atiku will be engaging in another round of propaganda. Onanuga speaking. Now, on high cost of borrowing, FG targets domestic market to fund 9.05 trillion naira budget deficit. Also, Pandef, okay, we've seen that before. Okay, a lot of other stories in front of the Vanguard. We now, okay, Plateau Appeal Court sacks Senate Minority Leader Mwadi Kwo. Report of attempt on my life false. Yahaya Bello speaking. Okay, which one do we believe now? Right, let's take a look at the Daily Trust newspaper now. Daily Trust. Domestic foreign airlines disagree on multiple designations. Our businesses at risk. Indigenous carriers. Go and build your capacity. Foreign airlines. What bilateral air service agency says. Now, Biringwari villagers raise alarm over Ansaro militants' presence. Kano Duse emirs seek government support for farmers. Ordering contractor back to site without payment wrong. Kuriwa tells federal government. And quickly, the last one, the Nigerian Tribune. Exchange rate, industries battle for survival as Nigerians suffer losses. Manufacturers pay up to 30 different taxes, levies annually. Man laments. Petrol pump price hit 630 naira per litre in Abuja. More filling stations shut down. Appeal court sacks Senate minority leader, orders rerun. Customs lose officers. Boko Haram attacks Yobe facility. NAS sued over purchase of 360 SUVs valued at 57.6 billion naira. Now, how government dressed in military uniform attacked Bello's convoy, Kogi government, contractors. Okay, that's the much we have on the Nigerian Tribune. Okay, Jerry, please, quickly, our time is fast spent.
On the issue of industries battling for survival, why wouldn't they battle? As a matter of fact, a lot of them have migrated out of Nigeria to Ghana, some other countries where they have stable power, where they have not too much charges on this diesel, fuel, and all that. So it's a pity we have a problem with the leadership in the country. And when we are just coming out of the other regime that impoverished Nigerians, one would have expected that there would be a breath of fresh air, but we are subjected to more hardship. Even from the take-off day, a good leader wouldn't have done that, doing 100% removal of fuel subsidy, knowing full well that everything revolves around that. It should have been incremental removal. That is gradual removal.
All right. I don't know. Please, Ololo, quickly before we wrap up the show. High cost of borrowing. FG targets domestic market to fund 9.05 trillion naira budget deficit. Now, one begins to wonder if in a house, if something is not right, or if there is a little suffering, that it should affect everybody. But now it seems it's only the poor masses in this nation are targeted. You know, they are the ones that suffer most of what actually is happening.
So this is the albatross of leadership in Nigeria, unfortunately, where they tell us austerity measure, we have to cut down how we live our lives. But then when the citizens who are willing to really cut down how they live their lives are looking at their so-called leaders, they are seeing affluence. They are seeing them hold parties. They are seeing them in convoy. We want to see a country where leadership, as we are made to understand, is people who are leading by example. If the citizens are suffering, if the country is in a bad shape, the citizens should begin from themselves, the leaders should begin from themselves to cut a lot of their excesses. Now, what this is showing us, no matter what the government says, especially in the area of insecurity, they cannot boost domestic markets when we are battling with insecurity. Talking about the issue of the governor of Kogi State.
We don't even know which one to believe again.
But no matter what it is, it shows one thing, it happened really. So what we are looking at now is who carried out the act. Is it?
But he came out to say that it's the fake.
No, but he himself, he said it is military people who came with, it is people who disguise the military uniform. So there are a lot of things going on. Even for him to come out to talk about it shows that there are insecurity issues in Nigeria.
All right, we could go on, but actually the much time could allow us to take on the press review for today. Would like to appreciate you so much. Everybody is actually feeling the pulse, but let's keep faith or hope alive that it only take time, but we'll bounce back, God willing. Thank you so much. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here.
Thank you very much for having us. Have a productive week.
Let's continue praying.
All right, we have more coming up on Good Morning Anambra Show. Do stay.